So this week's vlog is going to follow on from the one a couple of weeks ago that I did on cycling and watt bike and spinning. So this vlog is going to be about aqua jogging, something that I've done quite a lot of over the last couple of years, especially with some of the bigger injuries that I've had to go through. So aqua jogging is effectively just running in the water. You have a flotation device around your waist, and you're just doing the running motion, but instead in the water, so no impact whatsoever. It's a great way to keep fit and healthy, especially when you have an injury or a niggle that isn't allowing you to impact outside. So for me, it's been one of the key things I've done throughout my surgeries. So when I broke my foot in 2011 and then when I broke my ankle in 2015, I did a lot of aqua jogging in order to sort of keep fit and as healthy as I possibly could. It does help to maintain fitness, and I think evidence suggests that aqua jogging can maintain your fitness for about 6 weeks. It's a great way to maintain fitness. So aqua jogging is great for lower limb injuries, particularly if you have any fractures in the lower legs, so any foot injuries, calf injuries. It can be really a good way of maintaining your training but without the impact. The bike is almost like the next stage up. It's maybe about 20 to 30% of impact. You're still putting a little bit of force through your lower limbs, but aqua jogging is great for lower limb injuries. So some people like to go completely without a flotation belt, but personally I quite like using it. I feel it allows me to sort of maintain the proper posture, or a similar posture to what I would have running outside. So I like to try and keep my form as similar as I possibly can to what I would naturally do running, and I feel like the flotation device gives me that little bit of help in order to keep that posture and maintain that. So this is my aqua jogger. I've had it for a long time, so I actually can't remember where I got it from, but I'm sure there'll be 100 of these on Amazon. They're relatively cheap, but one like this is absolutely perfect, and they're definitely the best ones that you can get. It's really important not to fall into the trap of just doing like a doggy paddle. You really have to try and keep that running form as best as you can, so driving the knees up and really working the hip flexors and knees into what would be a typical running motion. Keep focused on pumping the arms and really have driving your knees through a high motion at all times. I find that leaning forward does allow me to sort of move through the water a little bit better rather than just going up and down in the one spot like a high knee. So leaning forward gives me a little bit of momentum to sort of push through the water, and you'll see that in the next few videos that I have. a little bit harder. You can actually buy water resistant shoes, so these bad boys. Again, I actually don't know where these are from, so Paula Radcliffe sent me these for me to try out when I was injured in 2015. They do make it much harder. The water sort of drains through, they've got little fins on them almost, I don't really know what you would call them, but these make it much harder to lift your legs up, and they increase the resistance of the water, so it almost puts, it's like having like lead weights on your feet almost, is the way it feels. To be honest, I didn't actually use them too much because I found them way too hard. I was working too hard anyway. But I did use them for a couple of recovery sessions to try and make things a little bit harder on my easy days. So yeah, so these are called AQX Sports. So again, I'm sure you could find these online somewhere. I have no idea how much they are, where you buy them from. Unfortunately, I don't have that information, but I'm sure Amazon or Google will be your best friend to try and find some of these. But they're not essential. I mean, I only wore them maybe one day a week. It really didn't make a huge amount of difference. I found that I can get my heart rate up quite high working hard in the pool without having to buy these. So a top tip would be to always check your local pool times. I've had many a mistake going into a local pool when it's maybe kids hour and there's about 40 children having a party and throwing balloons all over the pool, and it's absolute chaos. So yeah, so make sure you check the times. They will usually have certain swim lanes available actually for you to go in and to aqua jogging. So yeah, check with your local gym. And another option, but a much more expensive option, is to find an endless pool. So these aren't in great demand around the country, but I know a lot of triathletes like to use endless pools because it's a resistance and you can swim into it. It's a much harder workout, but as I say, there aren't many across the country, so you'll be very lucky to find one. So with aqua jogging, I would try to keep it as similar as possible to what my normal running program would be. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday I would have aqua jogging sessions, and then everything else around that would just be supplementary, so it'd either be easies. Yeah, I try to plan it as best as I can to allow me that when I have a really hard day in the pool, the next day is a recovery session. That's the best way to do it. I think I've made the mistake of going too hard for several days in a row, and it's ended up in disaster in a very tired Eilish. So it's certainly not the way to go about it. And even though you might feel like you're not working as hard as you do outside, the body is still going through the motions and the heart rate is still elevated. So a lot of people find it really hard to keep their heart rate up when they're aqua jogging, but the best way I've found anyway to do so is to keep the recoveries really short, and actually the reps quite short as well. So quite similar to what I would do on the watt bike, it would be sessions like 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. Sometimes I do 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, so it's always very short sprints, and I find that allows me to keep my heart rate as high as I would do running. Another top tip would be to get a waterproof iPod. I'm not being paid to say this, but I obviously spent a lot of hours in the pool over the last couple of years, and my waterproof iPod has been one of the best things I've ever used in my life. It passes by the time so much easier, especially on sort of the easy recovery hours, and yeah, it is absolutely brilliant. You can actually either buy your iPod directly from them and they'll waterproof it, or you can send your iPod to them and they'll waterproof it for you. They also do Kindles and iPads and all sorts of stuff, but yeah, you'll be working too hard in order to use one of those. But a waterproof iPod is brilliant, and I'll put the link somewhere at the bottom so you can have a go at those. So that's from Waterfi. I think they're a company based in America, but yeah, it's brilliant and it'll be the best decision you've ever made. So that's the end of this week's vlog. I hope you found it relatively interesting, and yeah, not as boring as aqua jogging anyway. So that's me covered biking, aqua jogging. The next one I'll do will be more specific to what I do on a day-to-day basis when I'm injured and not injured, and that'll be covering cross-training methods. So your elliptical, the arc trainer, things like that. So yeah, stay tuned, and I look forward to posting the next one.